Hey everyone. Okay, Capricorn, welcome. Mid-month, right? January. Happy birthday. Any of you who haven't had your birthday yet, and any of you who have that haven't heard that yet, happy birthday. Right, Jimmy? Happy birthday. Are you a Capricorn too? I think she is. Not quite dinner time. Alright, so I actually already recorded your reading. I already recorded your reading. I was upset the whole time. It was really this happened to me actually with Libra in December. So any of you who want I'm gonna keep it. If you want the other reading, you can have it. Okay? There's something about it. It's like the kind of like Capricorn energy that you don't really let out. Okay? Unless Capricorn gets real pissed. And then when you do, you just cut a motherfucker off, right? And really, what does it mean when we're mad? What does it mean that when we become emotionally distraught, if you will? Well, what it means is that you're really scared of something, right? It means that you're really afraid. It means that you're at a crossroads and you don't know how to move because you're a Capricorn, and when you start something, you're good at sticking with things. We actually talked about this in the January reading. Oh, there's crows everywhere. I didn't count how many there were, but I think it was like 12 or 13 of them. I think they're on the roof. Okay. Let me set a timer before I forget. So, the first message that did come to me from the last reading that's very important for you is that there's something that used to really annoy you about other people, like whatever that may be, right? These are general, but like the way they did it, or just like how someone did something, or the way that someone thought about it, their opinion, whatever it was. You used to be like, can't believe they fucking think like that. Like that kind of shit. But you don't necessarily say anything, right? It's just like in your head. Or maybe you're alone and you like mention it. But really, it would be something where you're like, basically you think to yourself like, wow, they are so judgmental. Which of course by saying that means that you're so judgmental, right? Because we're all mirrors of one another. But the point is that it's something like that is going to happen during this time, where you're going to have these little, and I don't think it's just once, it's like you're going to have these little indicators, little messages that basically are letting you know, like, I get it now. Like, I get why, I understand now why that person thought that way. I understand why someone said what it was that they said to me, you know? Why they expressed themselves in that way. I get it now. But it could be something sort of vague and surface, but it also can be something extremely distinctive, okay? Holy smokes. 21. It's the World card. So there's a completion. I love that they're flying over my house too. Their roosting is like, they always fly towards the sunset. They usually go to bed around sunset. They actually go to bed quite early. They like to be in their roost before the sun sets completely. They're part of the spirit world, you know, that's why they always look at you with like one eye. So, something about that, Capricorn. Okay, give me just 1 second. There is going to be some overlap of that other video to this one, but most people don't actually take advantage of this. Or at least with Libra, only one person did. Belinda, you're a genius. Everybody else was like, whatever. It's like, dude, you don't even know how much information was in there, you know? So sometimes I kind of want to make a channel that's like that, you know, where I actually, like, get upset. You know, and actually, because I could, if I really wanted to, I could suck up all this energy, but it's a lot, you know? I'd have to seriously meditate, and actually probably wouldn't be very healthy for me. But of course, I'd want to do that for somebody else, right? This giving, because I give it out so that I don't have to necessarily give it to myself, right? Or I think that that's a sufficient way to give to myself, is by giving to others, because I feel like in some way that if I heard that gives me some sort of authority. There is a decision to be made. I see that you don't feel that good right now, okay? Like this, it's important for you to pay attention, okay? Out of doors, like look to nature. Be aware of what it is that's around you, okay? It's like there's so much that's around you, and I know that you're really sad right now, okay? I can sense it. I know that you're really dissatisfied. I know that there's a lot of thoughts in your mind that you're not sharing with anyone. I know there's a lot of things that you have never put yourself at peace about. Particularly that all have to do with ages that are divisible by the number 4. See, for the mother can also play a role within this, as well as the father. I see for the majority of you, you didn't have a close relationship with your father, and if you did, he was sort of like here and then gone. But that could be any a person of it could just be a person in your life now. How you feel right now is you have the High Priest, which is the Hierophant in the traditional tarot. It represents Taurus. God and faith and spiritual, the deeper keys to the world we live in. He has a lot of secrets too. See, this one's different. This is like a normal Capricorn reading where I'm sort of like internal and, I'm kind of holding myself in. I'm not really expressing myself, even though I want to. And in truth, how you feel is that you actually are like, I'm very structured. I have everything in order. Everything is fine. I know that I hold, like in some way you're like, you know that God has your back. You know that you are able to handle things. You know that you have keys to all the doors. But for whatever reason, you fluctuate between feeling cool like this and feeling like this. And this all happens because you have all these thoughts in your mind that you are not telling anybody about. And you will not make a decision on what it means to finally close out like this cycle in your life, okay? Because there's apparently something that no longer is emotionally satisfying to you. Your friendships aren't doing it for you, really. Your love life isn't doing it for you, really. It's something about you. It's not about everyone else. That's the thing. And we've been talking about that, right, for a couple months now, maybe even almost 6 months. It's not about what everybody else thinks, Capricorn. It's about what do you think? What do you know? Okay? Because we've been talking about this big, huge goal that you've been working on. Very well, could this be part of your psyche? Sure can. Is it also part of how that affects the physical world? Yes, sirree, Bob. But everyone can tell that you're stressed out. Okay? It's starting to show on your face. Your age, your everything. It's showing. It's like eventually, and what's happening here is that, like, if you try to keep this, like, I'm so structured, I don't need to express how it is that I feel. Okay? I don't need to. I'll just keep it all in my head. And I see what you're actually keeping in your head. A lot of these thoughts have to do with fear. Okay? I heard fear of independence, fear of lack of money, lack of stability. I see that in a way, whether you express it or not, you feel like you can't control yourself emotionally. You can't control yourself energetically. But it's because you keep yourself so... I mean, Taurus, that's what Taurus does too. Keep it all inside. Unless they're working, right? And that's why if you ever find an unemployed Taurian person, they're generally kind of a drunkard or something. Their hands have to be busy. But idle hands are the devil's playground, right? We have to be doing something productive. And that also, there's hands inside your brain, you know? Just knitting, fucking crocheting these knots of what... You just won't make up your mind about it, though. Even though you're tired of working, you're tired of reassessing, right? You're tired of reassessing your friends. You're tired of reassessing your emotional connections to people. Like, you know what it is. And you know that, again, emotional connections to other people isn't bringing you what you want. And you can blame it on your job. You can blame it on your family. You can blame it on whatever. But all these things have to do with you. Now, is this a kind of, like... Do you want to look at it that way? No. No, you don't. I know you don't. But right now, like, it's apparent. Your money's not good. Your mind's not good. Your emotion isn't good. You may have the tendency to fucking snap. And for those of you around a Taurus, you could snap. Okay? Unless you take and appreciate their centeredness and mirror, like, we're all mirrors of one another, okay? I see for those of you who, there's more air than there is anything else, okay? Let's see, 9, 14. It all goes back to this. And I just keep seeing these keys are the same crisscross as these swords to me right now. Which is the same crisscross of this guy's arms. Okay? I heard decide. But you're afraid. I sense for most of you Capricorn people, it doesn't matter whether you're in a relationship or whether you're not. I see for those of you actually in a relationship, it's not apparent right here, right now. It's not like, it's not taking precedent. Again, it's all inside of you at this point. Which actually, Saturn's probably making you go within, right? The in-breath. Because you probably haven't been really assessing your psyche. You've just been worrying about your money, which is fine and good, that you've been working on your money. Saturn loves that. Okay? But now he's like flipping the table, and he's like, okay, what's underneath this fucking table? We get all this money on top, but like, what about all these cobwebs underneath here? You know? And that's hard because when you start emptying out, look how big this fucking cup is, okay? You start emptying out that cup, you're going to feel like you're drowning a little bit. You're not used to all this water. You're not used to all these thoughts. These are not your strong suits. Unless you have a lot of air in your chart, but even if you do, all these swords are very heavy, and you have to have an extremely advanced intellect to be able to sort out and organize what the fuck is going on in there. Because if you don't, again, it's not your strong suit, you're going to spiral. Okay? And then I see there's just enough air. This guy in the reverse with all that air can make an explosion. Okay? And there's not enough water to put out that fire. And it's not a good kind of fire, so it's important for you to communicate in some way or another what it is that you've been thinking about. I don't care if you go see your counselor, if you have to call up, you'd be like, just call up one of your friends and be like, dude, I need to vent. Like, can I just vent for a second? And if you feel like you really don't have anybody to talk to, that your family doesn't understand you, or you don't have any family because they all passed away, because I understand, like, whatever, just fucking record yourself. I just said this in your other reading too, but like, go drive around and fucking record yourself saying what it is that you are thinking about. Every single thing. Okay? You don't have to share it with anybody, but there's a need for you to get it out. Because it's asking you, like, it's asking you if what you are doing now, because Saturn, right, again, 30 years ago, and a few people, whoever thinks that 30 years ago doesn't count because they're 5 or 8 or 9 or 10 and they already worked through it, like, good luck. Even my dog said so. She thinks it's bullshit that anybody thinks that they got it all worked out. Because if we had it all worked out, we wouldn't even have this situation happening astrologically. We wouldn't even be here, probably. You know what I mean? So, the point is that we're checking in, like, how you behaved 30 years ago, what was going on, is relevant to now. Okay? Whether it was like daddy left, or you got a divorce, or you had a kid, or you lost a job, or you decided not to go to school because you wanted to have a child, or whatever the fuck it was, you moved houses, maybe you never moved till then, maybe you switched schools, maybe you broke your leg, whatever it is. There's something that ties a string to now, and it's, you know that there's something really tightly woven between then and now. You know that this string, it may be invisible, but that doesn't make it any less real. And there's a need for you to, again, you have to make a decision. Let's find out. Let's do one advice for Capricorn. Now, I actually heard a tarot woman say this recently, like maybe last month, and I got pissed off about it. She was just like, well, the divine feminine. I mean, I think she was specifically talking about that, but like, and I didn't mean it. The point is that she said, well, depression doesn't happen for the divine, you know, if you're divinely whatever. And I was like, fuck you, bitch. Like, who are you? Who are you to even say that? And then she was just like, because depression's not a real thing if you get 20 minutes of exercise a day. And she was right. You know? So there's something about that too, like physical exercise, okay? No. Where is it? One sec. Capricorn. Well, the Eight of Pentacles is here twice now. Reverse and upright. You're trying to repeat. It's like you're trying to make the same thing that you've been making the whole time. Okay? But you can't make it that way anymore. Saturn's not going to let you do it that way anymore. You don't have the right, I heard you don't have the right tools yet. Okay? Also, whatever it is that you are making, you have to make it to the best of your ability. If you're slacking in some way, if you're thinking like, I don't need to put in the work, I don't need to think about all this stuff, like, I got it, Saturn, pish posh, well guess what? Here's the Seven of Pentacles, here's the Eight of Pentacles. Obviously, Saturn is like, hey man, you gotta pay attention. 7 and 8 is 15, that's a 6. But it's like, where does the balance lie? Are you on this end or this end? Okay? Because this is kind of like scrimping, you know, in your savings to like pay the bills. And this is like, I know that I have what I need to be able to get through, I heard, the next 8 months. In the way that you're thinking ahead like that. And I'm not saying, I know a Capricorn always thinks like way ahead. It's not like you guys think like 5-year plans, 10-year plans, whatever, 30-year plans. Good for you. I'd love to do that someday. I don't have faith in myself in that way. Like, I don't work like that naturally. I always think that everything's going to, in one way or another, come pulling out from underneath me, like, because in whatever reason my life's always been tumultuous, right? Just as a personal note. You know, and I'm not saying that, like, I'm not working on that, but we're all working on that in some way or another, you know, this self-worth. You're throwing snowballs. But what you can't make a decision about, okay, is whether, is working on these emotional, your emotional exchanges. How emotionally, I heard, how emotionally giving are you? To others and to yourself. Okay? I see that you're good at making the same thing over and over and over again, but maybe that's part of why this guy is like this and this and this are basically like, well, I don't know if what I'm making is what I want to be making anymore. If because the pentacles are your body, you know, you could be like changing your diet, you could be changing your job, you could be changing, you're obviously changing a lot of things. There's a lot of change I see here, a lot of consideration, and a lot of, it's kind of, it's like, I heard fast-moving purgatory, okay? So it's like you're in this in-between zone and you don't really understand it. And you're trying to ignore certain situations at work, but you can't do that anymore. It's not about the money, it's not about your job, it's about your psyche, it's about your body, it's about your emotions, okay? Again, if you're not that emotional, Saturn's going to be like, here's a big old cup of emotions, like, what do you do? If you don't care to be internally introspective, like, what do you do? Especially when you have all these thoughts and worries and whatever inside of you, and then you have all these emotions, like, how do you deal with that? Okay? Because I see here that if you continue to just go in and you don't talk about it at all, which I see that you need to physically share this with someone, okay? There could also be a lack of physical attention that's necessary. So if you're not poor, go get, like, I don't know, like a mani-pedi or like a massage, or hug your friend. I mean, I'm saying mani-pedi, whatever, because I don't have any friends anymore because I have Uranus in the fucking 10th house. So, good luck to you. You don't have that, so don't worry. I don't think you do anyway. But the point is that you're going to be fine, but you have to get it out. It's about going out, okay? Because we have to go within, or we feel without, okay? We have to take what's within us and bring it bring it to the surface, okay? We have to like really examine it, and I see that you don't want to, but baby, you got to, okay? You have to. You can't just cross your arms anymore. You can't be like a Taurus. No offense to Taurus, I love the Taurian people, but like you can't just sit on it forever and be like, well, I've been doing this for 30 years this way, so change to a Taurian person. It's the slowest sign. They like don't change, really. It takes a long time for them to even consider in their mind that something's going to change. But I see here, this represents Earth, and then all the other Earth here, 8 and 7, it's you gotta pick your head up. Somebody's trying to offer you something, okay? They want to help you, but I don't know if I don't want you to miss the opportunity, okay? And I don't know if that's God or another person. I see it as physically another person, but and just, don't worry too much. And if you want that other video, let me know. I'll send it to you, okay? You have to open up your heart, though. I see you've been closed off for a long time, okay? Again, all the ages divisible by 4. You should go through that. Write a list. Instead of being on your computer the last half an hour, do it for the next, like, week. Write down one thing. Like, write down an age and then try to remember, like, where you were or what you were doing or where you lived or what smells you can remember, family members, whatever, friends. What color hair you had, I don't know. Okay? Alright, take care of yourself. Happy birthday. Sorry that was so like, wow. I feel it. It's a lot, okay? And again, you gotta get it out. Okay? Don't let it just sit in there. You get all putrid. No. Gotta let it out. Release, open the valve. In saying that, lastly, maybe a cleanse would be really helpful for you. Okay? Even if it's just like 2 days of not eating, but remember to cut down before that starts, okay? So you don't shock your body too much. Okay. See you later. Take care of yourself.